my general observation of Manipur ki Baat can be present in this way. First of all, when I'm watching all their videos, and then when my beloved brother Datoba asked me to join in this panel, so I have been watching it over and over for like 2-3 times, and then I have realized something. Number one, they have undermined, they have demeaned the idea of Manipur that we have. They're just presenting Manipur as just like it's a fractured, totally disintegrated state. And number two, they're looking at Manipur from the colonial lens. They don't see Manipur the way we are looking at Manipur. It's totally superficial, and a lot of factual inaccuracies are presented in course of their presentation, which I believe is also a humiliation to the idea of Manipur that we believe. And there has been ignorance of the deeper understanding of Manipur history, and some of them perhaps totally ignore and the basic history of Manipur, and especially Mr. S.K. Shute, the retired AD Border Security Forces, which I'm going to take on his presentation. And also I could see the complete ignorance of the divisive politics of the government of India, which has been one of the major factor of what we have seen now in the state of Manipur. And another very important point where some of the speaker have endorsed and suggest the uniform imposition of armed forces special power in Manipur so that the military can have a free hand in the state of Manipur, which I believe is an insult, is a humiliation to those mothers who are in front of us, who have sacrificed their valuable amount of their time in protest against this draconian and black law, which sometimes one of the member of parliament who represent Manipur in the Parliament of India in 1958 said a lawless law. And also I believe it's an insult to the supreme sacrifice of Pebam Chittaranjan. And also I believe it is another humiliation to the supreme sacrifice of the international icon of human rights, Irom Charmila. And now I'm going to take on the ADG retired of Border Security Forces, Mr. S.K. Shute. When Yamba Tauba asked me to also present some of the positive points for S.K. Shute, then I have been watching again and again. Even I have the transcript of his speech, but I could not help myself to appreciate any of it because he doesn't know the basic history of Manipur, which is really unfortunate to make him be a part of discussion which they call a road to peace for Manipur. And here I want to remind before my rebuttal or so-called, or before I'm going to take on the speech, I want to remind to the team of Manipur ki Baat that there is only one Manipur. We don't have a South Nagaland, we don't have a North Mizoram. The entire 22,327 square kilometer is under one Manipur. I want to remind this. So I'll start with the way some of his observation. Number one, Mr. S.K. Shute, he observed the problem of drugs in Manipur, and he was glorifying the poppy cultivation in Manipur, and he justified the poppy cultivation in Manipur in such a way that he said, he picked up one report, I don't know how far it's valid, and he said the population that was involved in poppy cultivation was due to severe indebtedness. Further, what he has justified about the poppy cultivation is because of the severe indebtedness. How irony, how funny it is. And when I listen to the speech of Mr. J.K. Pillai, I do agree a lot of his point, though I have some reservation as rightly pointed out by Pavung Nimai and Sir Homan. I do agree many of his point, and it's totally contradictory to the speech of Mr. J.K. Pillai, where he said the drug issue in Manipur is not the issue of Manipur, rather it should be taken by the central government as national issue because it has effect in the entire country. He especially mentioned about the area like Kerala and Punjab also. So how can he glorify the poppy cultivation in a way that it is because of the indebtedness? The national policy of the government of India should reflect how they are looking at the drug management in Manipur. And again, if he is saying in such a way that, like, to address the drug problem, here I quote from his speech, we cannot simply burn crops, we need to provide viable eco-friendly alternative for the people, such as medicinal plant, horticulture and cattle rearing. And then who is responsible for it? That's my basic question. Who is responsible? It is the government of Manipur. It is the government of India that is responsible for whatever he is saying. And to oversimplify the issue of drug in such a way and to justify the poppy cultivation in such a way that it's completely unfortunate. And the most unfortunate part of his speech is, here I quote, another pressing issue in the demand of autonomy by the Kuki community. Let's see how he's justifying the demand of autonomy by the Kuki community. They have long claimed that the land in the valley does not belong to them, and that the mighty kingdom historically only extended to the valley. This has been a source of grievances since the merger of Manipur with India. Mr. S.K. Shute, the retired ADG of BSF, said the land of the valley does not belong to them and the mighty kingdom. And Mr. S.K. Sood, here, because of this reason that I told you that, you're completely ignorant of the basic history of Manipur. Here you're talking about the merger of Manipur, and I'm going to remind you some of the basic history of Manipur before the merger of Manipur. It's a small time frame after the lapse of British paramount in 14 August 1947 till the merger of Manipur in 1949, 15 October. On the 10th March 1947, the Maharaja of Manipur, the then Maharaja Buddhachandra, constituted the Constitution Making Committee with 16 members. Later, it becomes 21 members. And it was constituted in such a way that the president of the Darbar, that was F.F. Pearson, was the chairman of the Constitution Making Committee, and another two members of the Darbar were also made to be the member of that Constitution Making Committee, and two of them were S. Somarendra and Kazi Waliullah. And there were 5 representatives from the valley and 5 representatives of the hills. Here I want to mention A. Daiho, Thangabao Kipken, Teva Kilong, R. Suisha, T.C. Tiangkham. These 5 representatives of the hills who were made to be the member of the Constitution Making Committee that was constituted by the sovereign, the Maharaja himself, on the 10th March 1947. Then how can you deny this? If you said the hills doesn't belong to the mighty kingdom. And then on 14 August 1947 to 7th October 1948, there was a Manipur interim government that took the responsibility of the governance and administration of Manipur, which was an independent nation from 1947 to 1948. And in the ministry, out of the 6-member ministry, Kating, T.C. Tiangkham, these 2 representatives of the hills were made to be the minister. And Mr. S.K. Sood, how can you deny this? And again, I have told you about the Constitution Making Committee, and when the Constitution was made and enacted before India could have won. So the Constitution of India was enacted in 1949, 26 November, and it came into effect in 26 January 1950, which was rightly pointed out by Pabung Nimai that by then India was yet to become the republic. And here in the Constitution of India, it reflected about the reservation of the Manipur Legislative Assembly. The total number of seats was 53. Out of that, 30 belongs to valley, 18 belongs to hills, and 3 belongs to Mohammedans. And Mr. S.K. Sood, how can you deny this? And again, by 18 October 1948, Manipur got the first democratically elected National Assembly. There, the government that was formed at that point of time represent the true aspiration of Manipur, the true representation of Manipur from both hills and plain. And from them, the first speaker of the independent Manipur State Assembly was T.C. Tiangkham. And the another important minister who is known to be one of the chief architect of the modern Manipur was Mr. Major Bok Kating. So, Mr. S.K. Sood, it's my humble question to you, how can you deny this basic history of Manipur? And then I want to take on to his next point. Here I quote, I can attest to the lack of infrastructure and development from his experience as working in Chuchanpur. The district hospital in Chuchanpur was in poor condition, and areas outside the town remained virtually untouched by any significant government and administrative presence. So he's trying to justify the underdevelopment as the reason for the demand of autonomy by the Kuki people. If that is the case, Mr. S.K. Sood, I want to remind you that the entire Manipur region is underdeveloped. No matter how you compare Manipur with any region of India, whether it is any of the metropolitan cities or whether you can pick up any state in India, you can compare Manipur in the matter of development. Manipur is totally underdeveloped, Mr. S.K. Sood. And if you try to justify the underdevelopment as the question of the demand of autonomy, then that's really unfortunate. And if you say Chuchanpur is underdeveloped, I'm totally okay for the development of Chuchanpur. And likewise, the other district, all the rest of the district, including Tamenglong, Urkul, Senapati, Frejol, Kangpokpi, Taubal, Kaching, Bishnupur, all the districts are underdeveloped. We don't have many essential amenities and facilities which the other region of India are getting right now. And if we are looking at the history of Manipur, Mr. S.K. Sood, I want to remind you that after the merger of Manipur in 1949, Manipur became a centrally administered party state which was governed by the President of India through a chief commissioner. So can you imagine yourself that a sovereign nation with a democratically elected government was reduced to a party state which have governed by the President of India through through a chief commissioner. And we got the status of Union Territory in 1956 and later the statehood in 1972. By this time, the government of India have already started the 5th five-year plan. And now you are trying to justify that Chuchandpur is underdeveloped, so you can justify the demand of autonomy, which is really funny. And also, I forgot to mention I really want to mention that he actually, when I'm looking at his speech, he's totally ignorant about the basic history of Manipur. Some propaganda, built up by some of the vested interest people like, Manipur belongs to only one community. This area the area of Manipur is just few square miles and square kilometers, which is really unfounded. And I want to mention this, when the inauguration of the Manipur State Assembly on the 18th of October 1948, there was a proclamation of the Maharaja of Manipur, Maharaja Buddha Chandra Singh. Here I quote from his proclamation: "Let me dwell on the political history beginning from 24 AD. She had her dominion over a wide area extending as far as the southern portion of the gateway of Shivsagar Valley in the north and Chandrapur Kasar in the west. Her present area is 8,650 square miles plus 7,000 square miles of the hills, including 7,960 square miles of Cabo Valley." Mr. S.K. Sood, how can you deny this? And by Alexander Mackenzie got the Pemberton Report of 1934 that the territorial boundary of Manipur is flexible from time to time, and by the time the boundary of Manipur was extended from Ningthi River up to 3 to 4 days journey from there and up to the Kasar Plain. This was the history of the territorial boundary of Manipur, Mr. S.K. Sood. And how can you deny this? And from his transcription, I want to take on to the next part.
To interrupt, but Miraj, it is almost 20 minutes, so.
Okay. Then I'm going to conclude it. Okay. The most unfortunate part is he endorsed and suggests for the imposition of armed forces special power in Manipur. And here I want to mention few of the things. I have a report from the Human Rights Watch, and Mr. S.K. Sood, I want to remind you that there has been few committees formed by the government of India. It is your government representing you and the rest of this country. Here I quote from the Human Rights Watch: "Human rights groups in India have called for the repeal for decades, and other voices calling for the repeal include the BP Jivan Reddy Committee 2005, Administrative Reform Committee headed by Birapan Moli, Working Group on Confidence Building Measures in Jammu and Kashmir headed by Mohammad Hamid Ansari. All of this committee formed by the government of India have recommended to repeal Armed Forces Special Power Act from Manipur and the rest of the country. And internationally, United Nations Special Reporters on Extrajudicial and Summary on Arbitrary Execution 2006, Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women 2007, and Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination 2007. These are the few international organizations that have also recommended for the repeal of Armed Forces Special Power Act from Manipur and the rest of the country. Here, you have the spine to call for the imposition of Armed Forces Special Power Act, where you justify that it will give the military a free hand. I'm really sorry for this. So, no matter how you are trying to undermine the aspiration and interest of the people of Manipur, no matter how you're trying to humiliate and insult the very idea of Manipur that we're surviving on, we'll try to fight for this idea of Manipur. So, glory to idea of Manipur.